Once upon a time, in 1890, a small miracle was born: instant coffee. From those humble beginnings, it has crept into every street corner, every kitchen, every hurried morning of countless people around the world. Few people know that behind every cup of fragrant coffee that only needs hot water is a long journey that begins in fertile lands far away. In lands like Brazil or Vietnam, where the sun gilds the hills, more than 100,000 farmers take care of each small coffee tree. When the rainy season ends, each pure white flower blooms on the tree trunk. Fragile yet durable, those flowers only last a few days, but they carry within them the promise of a fruitful harvest, when the cherries on the branches turn from green to dark red. It is the signal for a harvest dance to begin. On small farms, people still diligently pick each fruit by hand, their calloused hands lightly gliding over the branches. In the large fields, giant machines are used. The machines are not as violent as we think, but skillfully shake, causing the ripe fruit to fall into the tray in just a few seconds. In one day, the farmer can harvest the amount of fruit that used to take a week to finish. Sweat drenches the shirt, smiles full of hope. The coffee berries are quickly transported to the factory, because if delayed, the flavor will no longer be intact. Here, they are dropped into large water tanks. The heavy ripe fruit will sink. The green fruit will float and be eliminated. A natural selection, simple but miraculous. Then, a rotating drum system will gently peel off the thin outer shell, revealing the naked coffee beans, still covered in a layer of honey-like slime, not being able to rush. These beans continue to be put into water tanks, where natural microorganisms do their meticulous work. Washing away the slime, leaving only pure beans. Once cleaned, the coffee beans are spread out in the sun, drying on high drying racks. Every day, workers use rakes to stir the beans evenly, so that they all dry evenly. Sometimes, sudden rains force them to work all night, covering and protecting the fruits of their labor. When the moisture content of the beans is about 12%, they are put into storage, where specialized machines peel off the last layer of husk. Leaving only the sparkling green coffee beans. And that's not all. These beans are carefully classified: size, color, weight. Every criterion must be perfect. Beans that do not meet the standards are immediately discarded, because even a little can ruin a batch of coffee. And then, the best coffee beans are packed into bags, preparing for the journey to the roasting factory. At the factory, green coffee beans are roasted in giant ovens at high temperatures. The crackling sound is like joyful music. Each roasting level determines the final flavor: mild, rich, or intense. After roasting, the beans are ground into a fine powder. The coffee powder is then extracted under tightly controlled pressure and temperature, producing concentrated coffee essences. Finally, using spray drying or freeze drying methods, they turn the essence into small, convenient instant coffee beans that you only need to mix with hot water to have a cup of fragrant coffee. All stages are strictly controlled to ensure that, wherever you are, an office in New York, a small cafe in Tokyo, or a simple kitchen in Saigon, every sip of coffee you enjoy carries the full spirit and love of the people who created it. From the fertile land far away to the hands of the diligent craftsman. Once those tiny instant coffee beans complete their production journey, a new journey begins, quietly but no less elaborate, the journey from the factory to the hands of the connoisseur. Where coffee truly becomes a part of everyday life. After being carefully packaged in discreet packaging to preserve the aroma, each box of coffee is neatly loaded onto refrigerated trucks, containers, or even ships. Those boxes drift across the ocean, crossing thousands of kilometers, overcoming harsh weather, passing through transit stations from one port to another. Coffee is now not just a product. But a messenger, carrying the identity of the land and people where it was born, preparing to reach the millions of people waiting for it. At distribution centers, people carefully check each package. Only when they meet absolute safety standards will they be sent to supermarkets, convenience stores, coffee shops, or e-commerce shelves. Each box of coffee on the shelf seems lifeless, but in fact it is a long journey containing many efforts. Dreams and passions. It could be a young mother choosing it to make a cup for her husband in the morning. It could be a student staying up late to study for exams. It could be a driver taking a break in the middle of a long journey. Or it could be an adult, nostalgic for the taste of youth. Every time you open a coffee package, the sound of tearing paper gently echoes. The aroma spreads lightly in the air. When the hot water touches the coffee, the smoke rises, carrying a rich aroma, awakening all the senses. In that moment, all the hard work, all the sweat, all the steps on the red soil, all the sleepless nights in the factory, all come together, becoming a part of a simple but meaningful life. Instant coffee is not just a convenient product. It is a bridge between the diligent farmers on the high hills and the bustling cities. It is the crystallization of nature. Technology and people. It is a story of attachment, from the land where trees are grown to each cup of warm coffee on a winter morning, or a sunny afternoon on a quiet balcony. And then, when the cup of coffee is empty, that journey ends, just to start a new cycle, to continue connecting, to continue sharing. And then, in the cycle of modern life, where people race against time, where hurried mornings and tiring late nights become the norm, instant coffee quietly holds an irreplaceable position. It is not noisy, not ostentatious. It is simply present on the desk of an office worker, in the backpack of a business traveler, next to a programmer's computer, or tucked neatly in the shirt pocket of a soldier at a remote border. Just a little hot water, a small cup, that is enough to create a moment of peace amidst the chaos. Many consumers do not need to know the complicated steps behind. They just need a cup of delicious, quick, convenient coffee. But sometimes, in the moment of bringing the cup to the lips, that gentle bitterness seems to awaken something deeper. A young person in the city may have never set foot on a tea hill. But thanks to instant coffee, they feel connected to the red basalt land where farmers still tend to the trees and pick fruits every day. A person far from home, when sipping Vietnamese coffee in the West, suddenly feels like touching a bit of home, and there are also people who, through that flavor, find a bit of peace, a bit of concentration, a bit of inspiration to continue a long day. Instant coffee, seemingly simple, but reflects a part of modern life, fast but still needs depth. Convenient but cannot lack quality. Therefore, it is not only a drink, but also a habit, a small corner of living culture. A wordless companion of millions of people, and whether it is the first cup in the morning, or the last cup before resting, coffee is always present, gentle but persistent, like a red thread running through the journey of souls who love real flavor. The journey of instant coffee therefore never stops. It continues to begin every time someone opens the lid of the box, pours the small brown beans into a cup, pours boiling water, and stirs gently. In that movement, a whole world of labor, technology, love, and connection comes to life once again. And that cup of coffee, in the end, is not just a drink, but a story. A simple, familiar story, but imbued with the depth of the people behind it, from the hills to the roofs, from the sweat to the coffee drops. Then, when the afternoon light falls, when the noise of the city gradually subsides, the last cup of instant coffee of the day is once again brewed. No longer to stay awake, no longer to race against work, but simply to sit down, breathe slowly, and feel. It could be on a small balcony in the middle of the city, in a student dormitory, or at a windy border guard station, wherever there is a cup of coffee. There is a quiet corner for the soul. Instant coffee has traveled a long journey, from bright red coffee beans picked by hand, dried in the sun and wind, roasted in hot ovens, then through many stages of extraction, drying, packaging, to finally become a fine powder that seems normal, but contains so much effort, technique and love for the profession. Each small package of coffee is a slice of time, a part of the land, climate, and people of Vietnam. It not only reflects the progress of technology, but also demonstrates the ability to adapt. Be creative and aspire to reach out to the world. Not everyone has time to sit next to a small filter, waiting for each drop of coffee to fall, but everyone deserves to enjoy the taste of coffee, fast, convenient, yet still rich and sophisticated, and instant coffee has done just that, bringing coffee closer to everyone, everywhere, at every moment. So, if someone asks, what is so memorable about instant coffee? The answer is simple. It carries a part of memory, a part of spirit, a part of pride. Not only of coffee growers, producers, but also of an entire country. A country that knows how to preserve flavor, cherish value, and reach out to the world from very familiar things. And then, day after day, a cup of instant coffee is still there, like a silent companion. Not fussy, not demanding ritual, just a little hot water, a cup and a few minutes of waiting. A whole world of flavors seems to be awakened. Not a substitute for traditional filter coffee, but another option, more suitable for the modern pace of life, where people have to learn to balance between hustle and bustle. For many young people, instant coffee is the start of an early morning at the office. A companion during stressful study nights. A small consolation after long working hours. As for those who live far from home, just the familiar taste of a small cup of coffee is enough to ease their homesickness. A place with red soil of the Central Highlands. Quiet morning dew, and calloused hands that take care of each harvest season. Instant coffee does not try to be flashy. It is present quietly, persistently and persistently, just like the spirit of those who make it.